Okay, so what are we going to do today? So these are the learning objectives. Okay, so we're going to analyze an advantage, disadvantage writing prompt. Now, the writing prompt is the question that you need to answer when you have a writing exam. So we're going to analyze, we're going to try to understand what the question asks me to do. Now, this is an advantage, disadvantage essay. Number two, we're going to introduce the thinking planning stage. Okay, there are some stages that you need to go through. So the thinking stage, so you need to think so that you can come up with some ideas or generate some specific ideas. And then you need to plan these ideas so that you can write about them in a logical way. Now, number three, we're going to write an effective introduction. So hopefully by the end of this session, every one of you will be able to write an introduction. Now, why the introduction? The introduction is very important. It, it introduces your topic and it tells the examiner what you're going to write about. Now, if your introduction is good, okay, it means that you will have a high score. If your introduction is not good, it means that maybe the examiner will not understand what you're talking about. Okay. Now, there are a few things that the students have learned from other teachers and they are not good. So today I will tell you how to remove them because they are not good and they will not give you a high score. Okay. Now, what is a good essay? Now, before you write any essay, you have to ask yourself this question: what is a good essay? How can I get a high score? And here the answer is you need to meet the expectation. So you need to know what the examiner wants from you. Now, this is what is meant by meeting the expectations. Okay. Now, instead of starting with a question, you will have a question. This is a blank page here. So you will have a question on test day. So instead of starting to panic and maybe, stress out, there's no need for this. Okay. Do not look at the question. So what are we going to do? We're going to go here till the end and see what is good, what is a good essay. Okay. Now, who can tell me what is a good essay? Who can answer this question?
Paraphrasing the statement
Okay.
and answer the questions.
Okay, very good. So you can paraphrase the statement and you need to answer the question. Okay, good. Is there any other answer to this question? What is a good essay? How can I get a high score?
Answering the questions, but in a different way. Explaining the point, but not giving a direct answer for the question.
Okay, not giving a direct answer for the question. Okay. Okay, good. Now, here, so a good essay, it clearly answers the question. Now, there is one question, and you need to answer this question clearly. Now, this means that the examiner need to understand your answer. So, because your answer is a message that the examiner needs to understand, and it has to be very clear. So clear means straightforward and to the point and simple. Okay, so this is what is meant by clear. And it should be, okay, so to answer, it clearly answers the question in a logical way. Okay, logical way, this is the way you organize the information. So into a structure. Now the structure, it could be the introduction, main body, and then the conclusion. Now that's what you call a structure. And it should answer the question in a logical way. So this means that the examiner can understand your ideas and how you unfold information. And then you should use accurate and appropriate language. Now, accurate language, it means that you should make as few mistakes as possible. Do not make a lot of mistakes. and appropriate language. So it means, for example, are you using a topic specific vocabulary? Now, all the vocab that you need to use, it has to be relevant to the topic you're discussing. This is why students who learn by heart, okay, or who memorize high level words and they try to inject them in their essays, they will not get a high score, because the focus here is not on vocabulary, but the focus is on how you can deliver a clear message. You need to show the examiner that you are someone who can communicate in English. Okay, so I will explain this. Now here, what do I need to do? In order for me to produce a clear answer, now I need to think. It's very important. So it is often said that your writing or your thinking is the reflection of your, your writing is the reflection of your thinking. Now, if you think clearly, now this means that your answer will be clear. But most of the students do not spend some time thinking, which is wrong. So before I do anything, well, I need to read the question. I need to understand the question, sorry, and then I can proceed with writing. But never, don't ever try writing without thinking.
شو
Okay, so
تحضرين معي طريقة تكتبين essay.
let me
sorry.
Okay, so you can mute your mic and then you unmute yourself. Okay, now here, now thinking means the first thing I need to do, I need to understand the question. It's very important, because if you write something which is off point, برات الموضوع, you will get a very low score, and you may even get 0. Okay, so spending some time thinking about the question, what the question asks me to do, it's very important. Okay, the second thing, I need to generate relevant ideas. Now, relevant ideas, so they are ideas that are directly related to the topic. This is what is meant by relevant ideas. And I wouldn't advise you to brainstorm. Brainstorming is not good, okay? So because, you know, you just write any ideas that comes to mind. Well, this is not good. I will show you how to do this, how to generate relevant ideas. So I need to understand the question, number one, so that I can produce a clear answer. And then I need to generate relevant ideas, because writing is putting your ideas on paper. Okay, number two, so after I generate the ideas, what do I need to do? I need to plan. Now, planning will help me produce a logical answer. Okay, so a logical, it follows, it is a clear, and the examiner can, you know, understand what you're talking about, and they can follow through your ideas. So this is what you call a logical mantiqiyan. Okay, so a logical way. And then what do I need to do here? I need to insert my ideas into a structure that helps you answer the question in a logical way. So now the generic structure is this one. So we should write the introduction. This is number one. So what can we do in the introduction? We have to do two things. Number one, I need to paraphrase the topic. Now, paraphrasing means reinstating or, you know, rewording the idea, or coming up with the same idea but in other words. Now, this is what you call paraphrasing. For example, if you say, well, I'm sick, you can say, oh, I'm not feeling well, or you can say, I need to go to the doctor. It is the same idea but in other words, and that's what you need to do. So, and then you need to briefly answer the question, and this is what most of the students don't do. They do not answer the question in the introduction. This is a big flaw in your essay. Okay, I will explain everything here, because today our focus is to write how we can write a good introduction that will impress the examiner. Okay, so you can do it. Don't tell me that, hey, I'm not good at writing. No, you will see that by the end of this lesson, you will be able to write your own introduction. Number two, so this is probably what we're going to do later, but not today. Okay, so we're going to write the main body. So there are three things that need to be there. Number one, the topic sentence, and this is the sentence that has got the main idea, because for each paragraph we must have one idea. And this idea is expressed in a topic sentence. So we will learn how to write an effective topic sentence. And then you need to provide some explanation. Okay, now the topic sentence tends to be very general. So I need to explain this. Okay, it's very important. And then to highlight my explanation, I need to give a very specific example that will show the examiner that I understood the topic and I am writing in a clear way. Now, the last thing is the conclusion. So most of the time, what do we do in the conclusion? We just sum up our ideas. We come up with a summary of our ideas. And if the topic asks me about, for example, my opinion, well, I need to introduce my opinion. But today, as I said before, so we're talking about what you call advantages, disadvantages, say, and here there is no opinion. The question doesn't ask me to give my opinion. But if the question asks you to give your opinion, well, you need to reinforce the opinion in the conclusion. Okay, now these are the three main parts of an essay. And then, well, this is what is meant by, for example, this one, the language. Okay, now here we have using appropriate, accurate and appropriate language. What is meant by this? Now, only use language that helps you clearly answer the question. Now, this means what? You should never come up with, bombastic or fancy words. They are not good, because I can see on YouTube, so many teachers advise their students, they come up with a list of high-level words and they ask students to learn them by heart and then, shove them in their essays. No, this will never get you a high score, never. Please use simple words that you know. It's very important, okay? Do not listen to other people. They don't know what's going on, when we mark your essays. They don't know this, okay? Now, your language should be accurate. Now, accurate, it means that you should not make mistakes. And so far, we have learned how to produce error-free sentences. Error-free sentences يعني جمل خالية من الأخطاء. Now, I know how to write. المفروض أنا درستكم ها. المفروض you know how to write a simple sentence, a compound sentence, a complex sentence, and a compound complex sentence. And if for your sentences to be accurate, you have to start with a capital letter. For example, use the semicolon if you have a compound sentence, and your sentence with a full stop. Now, this is what is known as accuracy. Then your language should be appropriate. Now, appropriate, it means it should be adequate to the task. Now, for example, we will see the topic and we need to come up with or to generate what you call topic specific words. يعني كلمات متعلقة بالtopic اللي أنا بعمل. ما أحفظ كلمات من برا واجي بحطهم. No, this is not good, guys. You will get a very low score. Okay, so you will see that you can do this. This is not really difficult, and only use language you already know how to use. Now, for example, if you want to use one word, but you're not sure whether this word is correct or not, okay, please do not use it. Use a very simple word. It is better than to use one word that you don't know how to use, okay? Now, because this will make your essay unclear. But if you use simple words, okay, so it means that your essay will be very clear. It is better than to use, fancy words or high-level words, okay, and they are not related to the topic. Okay. Now, let's apply what we have just learned. اللي تعلمناه الحين راح نطبقه الحين. Now, this is from theory to practice. من النظري إلى التطبيق. Okay. Now, the writing prompt. Now, I have already given you this writing prompt. So this is from the MSAT. Many people are working from home every day instead of traveling to the office. And here we have the question, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of this for workers and employers? Now, if you look at this prompt, actually there are two parts to the prompt. This is the first part, which is the topic. What am I going to write about? And the second part of the topic is the question that I need to answer. Now, this is kind of, a background, and this is the question that I need to answer. And all MSAT prompts, they fall into the style. Now, the first part of the prompt is, it's a kind of, background language, but this one is a question that I need to answer. This is the writing prompt. Now, the first thing I need to do, I need to spend some time trying to understand this prompt. Okay, so let's say I will spend maybe 2 to 5 minutes, okay, trying to understand. Even if you spend 10 minutes, guys, well, this, I'm going to the extreme here. So 10 minutes is a long time, but do spend from 2 to 3 minutes, because if you don't understand the prompt, you will never produce a clear answer. Okay, now understand the question. Okay, now here we have working from home rather than traveling to office. Well, this is the topic that I'm going to write about. It is working from home rather than traveling to office. Okay, and here, now the writer in this prompt, so he is establishing, what you call a practice, okay, a common practice, or a new practice, which is a new trend. يعني الترند الجديد انه people work from home rather than traveling to office. Now look here, so this is the prompt that I have, working from home rather than traveling to office. Here we don't have any preference, يعني ما عندنا تفضيل. يعني for example, if you say it's a new trend but it's not a preference, لانه البرومبت ما قال لي هل تفضل. No, they never said this. They established, they mentioned something which is already established. So because maybe due to maybe COVID-19, or I don't know. So we have this new trend that people now, they have, the opportunity to work from home rather than traveling to office. They have this option. Okay, it's not a preference in the prompt. So you should never say, well, people prefer. No, don't say this. Okay, it's only a new trend. Okay, now, and the second part, the question, I need to mention or to list some advantages and some disadvantages for both workers and employers. Okay, so here, this is a very difficult topic. Okay, and I'm not sure whether this was given in the AMSAT or not, but I took it for granted because I found it somewhere. It is about the AMSAT. Okay, but this one, because I think you need to come up with 200 words. Now, if you want to answer this question in full, and if you want to provide a clear answer, you should exceed at least 800 words. Okay, so we're not going to work on this topic. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. I have already worked on this topic, and I show you what I did. And what are we going to do? You're going to follow my example little by little, step by step, on other topics, but not on this one. Okay, now I need to generate some relevant ideas. What are the advantages? And when you generate ideas, do not write sentences, write only words, okay. Now, because here it has to be, very quick. This stage has to be very quick. Okay, guys, I will tell you something very important. There are some, I need to mute this lady. Okay, I'll mute you guys. If you want to talk, so you just unmute yourself. Okay. Okay, good. Now, I want to tell you something which is very important. Now here, when it comes to ideas, the examiner doesn't care about your ideas. Yani, we really don't care about your ideas, okay? So there is nothing in the rubric, يعني في التصحيح, which says مثلا original ideas. No, we don't have this. You can come up with any ideas. Here the focus is for me to see whether you can write in English or not. So please opt for, choose some simple ideas, very simple ideas. Do not complicate things for yourselves, guys. Okay, now this is the problem. Some of the students, they overcomplicate things, and this is why they cannot write. So try to come up with very simple ideas, very simple. I will show you now how you can do this. Okay, now look at this one. Advantages and disadvantages. Now, for workers, the advantages are flexibility. Okay, now this means what? Well, this allows them some flexibility when they work, for example, from home, because they have some family commitment, so they can take care, for example, of their family, and in the meantime, so they can perform their job, or they can do whatever they are assigned to do. Okay, now this is what you call flexibility al-muruna. You see here, I did not write a sentence. It is only one word. So this is what you need to do when you generate relevant ideas. Do not write long sentences. Write only words. That's it. And then, for example, when they work at home, they will their stress level will be reduced. Okay, they will not be stressed out. So because they are at home, they will not be thinking about, for example, what their kids are doing at home, or maybe, for example, their kids may face some problems, or they have to call them from time to time to make sure that their kids are okay. Now, they are stress-free when they work at home. Okay, now you see, these are very simple ideas, very simple ideas. And this is what you need to do, guys. Now, for the disadvantages, so they may suffer from, okay, what you call social isolation, because they cannot meet with their co-workers or the people that they work with. Okay, so no social isolation. It means that they will stay at home and they will not have some social contact. Okay, now this is something very easy that I can write about. Okay, and they may also face some distractions. So because the kids are around and they may distract them, and they may, for example, stay in the way of them performing their work. Okay, now these are called distractions. Now you see here, my ideas are very simple, and I can write about them, and I can develop them into paragraphs. Now for employers, now they may have some benefits, okay, when they conduct their business online. So cost saving. This is very important for employers. Okay, so instead of renting, for example, an office, or renting, I don't know, maybe an apartment or whatever, so they won't have to do this because everything will be online. And instead of paying, for example, electricity bills, I don't know, utility bills, they won't have to do this. Okay, so they will save a lot of money. Well, this is an advantage for them, and this one is a very simple idea that I can write about. And then less absenteeism. Now, absent يعني غائب. Absenteeism هو الغياب. Now, when workers conduct their work, online, they are less likely that they will, for example, miss a working day. Okay, less likely. For example, if you're not working online, okay, so and you have something to do or an errand to run, what are you going to do? Okay, you are going to ask for permission. So, or maybe you will be absent. And this is what most people do. And then you go to the doctor and you get a sick leave. عشان ما يقطعوا لك اليوم. طبعا هذا حرام. Okay, like this is what happens now. But if you conduct your business online, so people won't have to be absent. And now these are the two advantages I came up with, and as you can see, they are very simple, guys. And this is what I want to say, because some students, wallahi al-azim, they do not think. Okay, but if they think, try to make it simple. Do not think about very complex ideas. No, guys, it's not this way. And here, communication problems. Okay, now this is one of the advantages. So for example, sometimes they want to hold a meeting and they need to contact everyone, and maybe they cannot, for example, have this meeting so because someone is not ready or someone is not online or blah blah blah. Now this is communication problem. And less collaboration. Collaboration means people working together. Now if you are online, so normally you work on your own and you do not work with other people. Okay, now this is one of the disadvantages. So I didn't pay too much time thinking about these ideas, and I opted for very simple ideas that I can talk about. Now for these ideas, I can come up with a topic sentence. For example, I could say, well, working online would give workers some flexibility. Full stop. Okay, explain this. I will explain it by one or two sentences. Okay, give me an example. I will give an example. And that's it. You will see that you will exceed 250 words or maybe 300 words. But you need to think, because if you don't do this, now this is what they call the stage. Of course, on the day of the exam, you're not going to do the way I'm doing now. I'm doing this because I'm teaching you guys. But on the day of the exam, you don't have to create a mind map like this. No, no, no. Just you jot down things. That's it. Jot down things. It's very simple. Okay, do not overcomplicate things. Now here, because I am a teacher and I need to show you how you should think before you write. It's very important because the students, when they read the question, first of all, they do not try to understand it. And this is a problem. First of all, try to understand the question. Okay, then try to generate some ideas. Number 3, try to plan. What are you going to write in the introduction? What are you going to write in the body? What are you going to write, for example, in this in the conclusion? Okay, if you know what you're doing, you can come up with a good piece of writing, and it will be logical, and the examiner will understand it. But والله تقول لي teacher اعطيني شو اسمه تسموه انتم قالب، اي قالب بتاعك، اي قالب، اي قالب. ليش كل موضوع عنده خاصيه يعني؟ اي قالب. بعدين بقول لكم القوالب شو بتعمل. اللي ياخذ قالب يرسم. I will tell you القوالب هذول. Bye. Okay, we move on. Okay, now sample introductions. Okay, I will give you now assessment criteria applied. So انتوا الحين راح تقيموا introductions على ضوء اللي شفناه. But sample introduction number 1. Now look here, what do we have? Now this is one introduction. It is known for a fact that working from home is a very controversial issue that elicits fervent discussions and intense debate in contemporary society. Remote work from home entails both advantages and disadvantages for employers and their employees alike. This essay seeks to address the favorable and unfavorable effects that working from home can have on employers and their workforce. Now, the question is for you guys. What do you think of this? What do you think of this introduction? If it is good, tell me why. If it's not good, tell me why. Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Come on, guys.
It's not good.
Hmm?
It's not good
It's not good. Why?
because they didn't say what they will do in the essay. They just explain
Now
the.
here we have this essay seeks to address the favorable and unfavorable effects that working from home can have on employers and their workforce. They said what they are going to do.
It is a good essay.
Huh?
It is a good essay because you prefer it and you answer the question. Remote work from the advantage and disadvantage of for employee and employer.
Yeah, where did he answer the question? I cannot see this. Where did he answer the question? Yeah, where did he answer the question? What are some of the advantages? What are some of the disadvantages? Can you see them?
You didn't answer the question, you paraphrase it again.
Okay, but is this good or bad?
But
Bad.
and
But you see here, it is known, well, this is the passive. Working from home is a very controversial issue, and it elicits fervent discussions, intense debate, contemporary society. Now, these are high-level words.
but you didn't answer the question.
But
Only
you didn't.
prefer background and the question.
What's your name?
خولة.
والله ما شاء الله عليك يا خولة. خولة اللي في الآيل صح؟
هي.
ايه احسنتي, very good. But okay. طبعا خولة يعني she's a very good student صراحة. Okay. And this is a very bad introduction. Okay. And when we mark essays, okay, this is what we come up with. Okay. And when I, for example, when I'm marking an essay, and I come up with I come across something like this one, I will give it a very low score. I will tell you why. The writer here didn't do anything. He didn't do anything, nothing. Now look, it is known for a fact that working, now this is what he did, working from home. بس يحط يعني يجي من الموضوع يحط التوبيك. working from home. But تركب على كل advantage disadvantage say is a very controversial issue. زين شو جبت انت؟ هو قال لك talk about the advantages and disadvantages. انت شو جبت لما تقول لي controversial؟ يعني يجلب الكثير من الجدل. You brought up nothing. Okay? هذه معروفة انه it is a cliche. You know cliche? It is something that is overused. الناس يستخدموه وما يعمل معي. هذا كما قال الله سبحانه وتعالى لا يغني ولا يسمن من جوع. اوكي؟ لانه ما يعمل شيء هذا. It is nothing. عارفين كل عشب طفيلية بس كلمات مبهرة لكن لا تؤدي إلى معنى. Okay, and this is why many students, okay, they don't understand what they should do, so they learn these expressions and they put them on the day of the exam. حبيبي بقول لك أقسم بالله أقسم بالله أقسم بالله يعني in a day we may read this 100 times. And whenever I read an introduction like this, okay, well, this is another A1 or A2 essay, because I am sure that the student is not communicating any message. What is he doing? He is memorizing messages and regurgitating them or throwing them up in their essays. يعني بلغتكم يزوع، يعني يحفظ حاجة ويزوحها يوم الامتحان. He is doing nothing, okay, because this one تركب على كل الاساي، كل اساي تقدر تحطها هذه. Okay, now this is what you call cliche. Okay, so you have هذه number one. You should never put cliches in your introduction because the examiner we know this. بنشوفهم في اليوم 100 مرة أصلا. أنتوا عم بالكم أنتم لما تاخذوا قالب إحنا ما بنعرف. طب في اليوم بنشوفه 1000 مرة أصلا القالب هذا موجود. Okay, but remote work هذه كويسه لانه قال working from home بعدين قال remote work عامل paraphrasing. This is good. هذه يسميها substitution بعدين بشرحها. Okay, from home entails both advantages and disadvantages. طب شو قال لك هو قال هذا for employers and their employees قاعد علاك فاضي نفس الشيء ما سويت شيء. Now بعدين قال لك this essay seeks to address the favorable يعني the advantages and the disadvantages. Okay, انزين طب انت ليش اكتبهم؟ ليش تقول لي انا راح اعمل؟ اوكي اكتبهم. show okay what are they? I cannot see them in the introduction. مش موجودين اصلا. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? I cannot see them. هذه الاشياء هذه. So this one أول شيء do not use memorized phrases that all examiners know about. We know about them guys. والله we know about them. Okay, هذه number one. هذه تسمى cliché. Now this is from the dictionary. A cliché is a phrase or opinion that is overused. مستخدمة مستهلكة خلاص ما عندها واحد. And betrays a lack of originality. شو يعني؟ Writing is all about creativity. Creativity يعني الإبداع والخلق. هذه it betrays تخدع هذا الكونسبت وتخليها قالب جاهز الناس الكل تقدر. أنا I cannot tell the difference between خولة and between مثلا أحمد. الكلهم كاتبيني نفس الشيء. No, this is memorized. This doesn't tell me that خولة is a good student. No, if you come up with an essay like this, والله لو جبت مهما جبت من الكلمات. Okay, this is not your writing and أصلا ما لهم داعي. Okay, this is number one. Number two, do not say what you are supposed to do. خلاص أنت راح you are going to talk about the advantages. ليش تقول له I am going to talk about the advantages؟ هلا ما أدري اللي يدرسوا معي في الآيل زي خولة. الكاتب ما بيقول لك أنا شو راح أعمل. الكاتب يكتب وأنت هما they imply meaning يخلي المعنى ضمني وأنت you شو اسمه هو you infer the meaning تستخلص المعنى. فما بتقول لي أنا I am going. أصلا أنت مطلوب منك إنك you give the advantages and disadvantages. وين الإجابة على السؤال؟ You did not say anything. قلت لي أنا I will talk about. Okay, why didn't you answer the question in the introduction? The question should be answered in the introduction. This is very important. زين. Number three, do not use fancy words. كلمات صعبة. Like for example, I don't know, maybe controversial, maybe fervent discussions. Okay, maybe I don't know. So these words, contemporary, do not use them, guys. Try to be simple. Try to be simple. Okay, so do not use fancy words that are irrelevant. اصلا هم if they are relevant هم يتعلقوا بالتاسك it's okay. انا قلت لكم هذه كويسه remote working هي working from home غيرها remote working. Well, this is what you call topic specific vocab. يعني هذا متعلق بالتوبيك. This is good. لكن والله تجيب لي مثلا هوني fervent discussions and intense debate. طب شو الفرق بيناتهم يا رجال؟ هذا يتسمى بالانجليزيه يسمى superfluity والا يسمى redundancy اللي هم الحشو الزائد اللي ما له خص. بالسوري يقولوا علاك فاضي. Okay, there is no need for this. Okay, do not use these phrases in your essay. Why? Because they do you more of a harm than a help. هذا اصلا بيدمروك اكثر من بيساعدوك. Okay. No, and do not beat around the bush. يعني تحوم حول الحمى من غير ما هذا يحوم حول الحمى. Okay, so I will talk about the advantage. يا أخي, talk about them. Don't tell me I will talk about them. Do not beat around the bush. Briefly answer the question. يعني you need to answer the question, but in a very brief way. بطريقة مقتضبة جدا. I will show you how to do this. Now this is sample introduction number 2. Just to tell you. Now this one أنا هذا اللي هو CFR اللي بنصحح عليه. Okay. أنتوا العلامات تاخذوهم على هذه. A1 أضعف شيء. A2 بعدين B1 B2 C1 C2. Now an introduction like this one, if I am very generous as an examiner, I will give you A2. Wallah, you do not deserve it. I will give A1 because this is not you. This is what you call, you know, it's like something memorized phrases put in the introduction and they do not serve, you know, the purpose. ما بيأدوا وظيفة أصلا. So this is why here I did not understand what you're going to do. I didn't understand anything. You did not paraphrase the prompt and you did not answer the question. So this is why I will give you a very low score. إن شاء الله الحين فهمتوا شو يعني هذا من اللي يطلبوا مني أستاذ أعطيني قالب. يا عمي روح للواحد خذ قوالب. أنا ما بعطي قوالب. أي قالب. أنا حتى بعثت لكم اليوم. I sent you some essays. They are not good. لكن some students يعني يشوفوا هذا ما شاء الله. This is not the way, guys. Things go. أنا in this classroom يعني I know that there are really some good students and they can understand and maybe they appreciate what I am doing. يعني يقولوا الأستاذ هذا يشتغل معنا كويس. جزاه الله خير. وفما ناس أخرين لا لأنه يتوقع منك تيجي تدرسه حطي شوف حط هذه وحط هذه وحط هذه راح تاخذ علامة ممتازة. أنا والله ما بعمل هيك. أني سأحاسب عليه يوم القيامة هذا. زين. Okay. Now, anyways. Now, the sample introduction number 2. Now, here we have another introduction. It's very simple, guys. Very simple words. Look at this one. More and more people are now choosing to work from home instead of going to their office daily. It's very simple, but this is a paraphrase of the writing prompt. Employers can be happy because they have fewer employees missing work. أنا قاعد يجاوب. Now this is one of the advantage. قال they have fewer employees missing work. Very simple language. And الثانية they save money اللي هما يسميهم cost savings. Very simple words. But the downside, now this is the negative effect. ما قال the disadvantage قال but the downside is that it might be harder for them to communicate and work together well. Okay, very simple words. Also, workers can enjoy being able to choose their schedules and feel less stressed اللي هي flexibility. شايفين كيف جاوب على السؤال؟ However, they might feel lonely and have trouble focusing because of distraction. Now, this introduction, although it is written in very simple words, now this question, it serves the purpose. Now the prompt or the question is being paraphrased, successfully paraphrased, I would say. And the candidate or the student has answered the question. Okay, but briefly, he didn't get into the details. Now this introduction, I know that the students later on is going to write the main body paragraph 1 and main body paragraph 2, and he is going to explain these ideas. So for example here, because they have fewer employees missing. Now he's going to talk about this one. Why, for example, when students work, when staff works online, they do not miss work. He's going to explain this. And the second one, they save money. We're talking about employers. They save money. Okay, how can they save money? Now, these are what you call details that you need to shove into your body. Okay, 1 and 2. So I can see. Now, here, when you come up with something very general, because the tendency is from the general, من العام إلى الخاص. So this is the general and the body paragraph. هذا خاص جدا. Okay. So هذه تتسمى أهم شيء في الإساءة اللي هي يسميه overall progression. في من نقطة ينتقل إلى نقطة إلى نقطة تحصل الإساءة one whole. كلها one unit. وحدة كاملة متكاملة لا تتجزأ. Is it clear? Now this student صحيح إنه they used يعني very simple words, but this is really a good student and he answered the question and he can communicate in English. Now for me as an examiner, now if someone comes up with something like this, I will give them a higher score than the first one who has memorized the phrases and he doesn't even know how to communicate in English. Because language is all about communication. ترى اللغة هي التواصل. هل تعرف تتواصل مع الناس؟ هلا حفظ لي أنت 4 كلمات أصلا لو تحكي مع واحد إنجليزي ما راح يسمع منك، يقول لك هذا من كوكب ثاني. ليش؟ لأنه what I'm talking about the first introduction. Now the thing he came up with is something that are not natural. ليس طبيعي. الناس ما بتحكي بالطريقة متاعك أنت هذه. ما بتحكي. Okay? الناس تحكي بالطريقة هذه. They will understand you. If you can communicate the message effectively, it means that you have succeeded. Okay, so in helping people get your message across. Now, for this one, I will say, well, the prompt has been paraphrased. Now, look here, I didn't say successfully. I said the prompt has been paraphrased, now, which is good. Now, if you paraphrase the prompt, this means that you understood the question. Okay, now as an examiner, I know that the student has paraphrased the prompt. I know that he has understood the question. هذه حاجة إيجابية. Number 2, the question has been answered. Well, here he briefly answered the question. Okay, الاثنين عملهم in the introduction. This is a very successful introduction. Now, this student has used simple but clear language to communicate his ideas. You see, the language is simple. ما حد فيكم يقول لي teacher, we need to use fancy words. يا عمي don't use fancy words. مين قال لك الكلام هذا? It is not this way. It is not the way you are thinking, guys. Okay. And the communication, the message is very clear. He has communicated a very clear message. Now, the introduction lends itself to development. هذه أهم شيء. خلى أشياء في الفقرة راح تمسك القارئ اللي هم راح يسألهم أسئلة راح يسألهم القارئ مثلا لما يقول employers can be happy because they have a fewer employee missing work. القارئ راح يقول why how is that. هذا راح يكتبه هو شو في البادي. هذه شو تتسمى بالضبط إنه هذه the introduction it lends itself to development. فيها أشياء تخلي بعدين الفكرة راح تتطور أكثر. Okay, now if I want to give a score to this person, I will give him somewhere between B1 and B2. Okay, now أقل من هيك لا. I will never give him, for example, A1 or 2. No, for the vocab, it is only, you know, it is, I think, 20% only. Yeah, for the AMSAT, 20% only vocab. Okay, well, vocab is good. Vocab is appropriate. يعني متعلق بالtask. It is appropriate. Now, if you're talking about work, so we have employees, we have missing work, we have communication, we have schedules, we have stress. You see here, so all the vocab, it is topic specific. خاص بالموضوع. أما والله تيجي تقول لي it is a highly controversial issue and it brings about مثلا a lot of intense debate وكلام الفاضي هذا ما لي خاص فيه. Okay, this is not the way you should write, guys. Try to make things very simple. هذا for a student who would like to have B2 or B1 يعني successful بيكون بيجيب 1400 1500. Okay, there are some students who would like to have a higher score. Now look at this one, for example. This is really highly complex, guys. Now, an increasing number of individuals. هو قال many people. أنا عملت لها paraphrase هذه قلت an increasing number of individuals are embracing. Now, this is the verb to embrace. يحتضن the daily routine of home-based work. بدل الhome, working from home, rather than هو قال instead of commuting to their workplace. Now, to commute is to move on or to go to. Okay, you commute. Now this is highly sophisticated, but it is an exact paraphrase of the prompt. مشان هيك هوني في فرق بين الاول اللي هذا اللي حطيته انا مثلا B1 و B2 وهذا راح يكون C1 C2. Now this is هذا اللي بيقول لك مثلا تستخدم كلمات تستخدمهم بس في التوبيك. They have to be topic specific. مو تجيب لي كلام وتقول لي شو اسمه هو intense debate وكلام فاضي واحد ما حد بيشوفه هذا. باي وايل شوف هوني كيف قرنت الجمل بتاعي الاخر ما قرنهم. الثاني ما قرنهم الاصفر اللي هو ستودنت اللي هو حطيته انا B1 B2. انا شوف كيف عملت مونيكا كلهم كومبلكس كل كومبلكس. Now while business owners اللي هما employees اوكي انا بدلتها business owners can reap the merits. Now to reap the merits of something, well this is highly sophisticated language of reduced absenteeism and cost savings. The trade-off اللي هو the disadvantage اللي هو الشيء اللي لازم تتنازل عليه لما تعمل شيء trade-off يتسمى. The trade-off is that effective communication and collaboration might take a hit. Well this is an idiom يعني they may suffer. بقى هون أنا استخدمت الidioms استخدمت good collocations, reduced absenteeism, effective communication, okay, a trade-off, okay. زين likewise نفس الشيء workers لأنه هذه كانت على إيش business owners وهذه تجمعهم جمعتهم likewise أو نقدر نقوله in a similar manner. Okay, we will study these things guys. Okay, workers can relish the benefits. هونيك شو قلت reap the merits. هونيك استخدمت phrase ثاني relish the benefits. Okay, يعني enjoying the benefits of increased flexibility and reduced stress levels, but they may also grapple with يعني إيش this is something negative, social isolation and distractions. Well, for this one, you will get C2 level. I don't expect my students to write this way. لكن أنا براويك اللي هم this is a sample introduction. What is good as an introduction and what is bad as an introduction? Number one is bad. Number two is good in the sense that it is very simple and it addresses the writing prompt. Addresses يعني تجيب عليها على طول تجيب عليها. Okay, it addresses the right. Now this one, it is excellent because here I have used high-level vocabulary, high-level structures. I have used idioms. Okay, I have varied my language. There are no mistakes, okay, whatsoever. And the message, this is the most important thing, the message is very, very clear. And the examiner will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, now for this one, the prompt has been قلنا بس paraphrased. هذه ضفنا لها qualifier. The prompt has been successfully paraphrased. And here we have the question has been briefly answered. You see here, I answered the question. Now, for example, business owners can reap. Now, this is about the advantages. أول شيء reduced absenteeism and cost saving. هذا الشطر الأول. شو هما disadvantages? The trade-off. I know that I'm going to talk about the disadvantage now is that effective communication and collaboration might suffer or might take a hit. Okay. السؤال الثاني جاوبت عليه نفس الشيء. For workers, they can relish the benefits of increased flexibility and reduced stress, but لكن they may also grapple with social isolation and distraction. You see, so the answer to the question, it must be in the introduction. What am I going to do in the body? Well, I'm going to write two main body paragraphs about, for example, this one. So about business owners or employers, and I'm going to write another paragraph about workers or staff or workforce, whatever we call them. Okay. So, and I'm going to explain these concepts and I'm going to explain them. I'm going to provide some examples so that the examiner can understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, if I want to give, for example, this is my remark, the student has used highly sophisticated language to effectively, يعني بطريقة ممتازة, communicate this message. The introduction serves as a clear roadmap. عبارة على خريطة. It is a roadmap to the reader, which is the examiner. Now, this one here, you will be in the C1 and C2 level, but you will never get B1 or B2. So because here you have used highly sophisticated language. Now here, so if I gauge this against the CFR criteria, so this student will be C1 or C2 level. And I've seen some students who are begging the teacher to how to go to the C1 or the C2 level. You can go to the C1 or the C2 level if you learn how to write in English. If you learn how to write in English. But if you learn difficult vocabs, you know, high-level vocabulary, bombastic words, this will never help you because they are not topic specific and they can fit, you know, in any essay. In any essay, they can fit that. Okay. Now, the key to writing an effective introduction. How can I write an effective introduction? Now, I told you guys that the first contact with your exam paper is the introduction. So if it is well crafted, it means that the examiner will understand your message. Okay, it's very important. And you will have a high score. And this is why here in the introduction, we're going to do two things. So number one, we're going to paraphrase the prompt. Okay, and we're going to answer the questions. Two things. Okay, and I have showed you here how to do. Now let's learn how we can paraphrase the topic. Now this is the topic. Many people are working from home every day instead of traveling to the office. Now on the day of the exam, this is what you need to do. You will say, well, this is the prompt. I will express this in my own words. Do not copy the words, guys. Okay, now many people, here I said a lot of people. So here I'm not an excellent student, but I did my best. So instead of many, I came up with a lot of, and I kept the same word. Now, why do you think I kept the same word? Because I'm doing this for you. Now, there are students who are really not good, or they are not good enough to come up with exact synonyms. So, يعني شيء أفضل من لا شيء. هذه عبارة كويسة. شيء أفضل من لا شيء. أنا بس عملت ماني حطيت a lot of. وبيبل ما بعرف كلمة ثانية. أنا ما بعرف كلمة individuals. For example, ما بعرف مثلا population. Okay. I don't know these things. خليت عملت هذه many أضعف الإيمان حطيتها a lot of people are working from home. أنا هون قلت are opting ولا are choosing for remote work. هنيك غيرت عملت they are opting ولا they are choosing وهوني اللي هو from home عملتها remote work. اوكي ممتاز. every day خليتها الأخير حطيتها شو daily every day وإلا daily. ممتاز. avoid comma avoiding the need يعني there is no need for them to commute to the office. Commute to يعني to go. فيني أقول go. I know the word commute. It's a very simple word. Okay, to commute to work ولا to go to work. فيك تحط go to work. The office حطيتها the office. ما بعرف كلمة ثانية الoffice. حطيت الoffice. Now this is the way. Daily حطيت آخر شيء. Now a lot of people are opting for remote work, avoiding the need to commute to the office daily. Now this sentence, okay, equals تساوي this sentence. They are the same thing. But why is this effective? Because the examiner, when they read this sentence or this paraphrase, they understand that this student, okay, understood the topic, فهموا الtopic, and he was able to paraphrase it. لكن إذا كان أنت ما بتعمل هيك بالضبط، يعني you leave this وتجيب لي أشياء من برا ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان وتكتب تحط قوالب جاهزة. The examiner cannot tell that you understood the question. ما بيعرف الإكزامينر أنك أنت فهمت السؤال، أنك جايب لي شيء من برا قالب حطته لي قالب فهم. زين ما بعرف أنا أنت تعرف أنت فاهم السؤال ولا مش فاهمه. If you have, this is what you call the writing prompt اللي هو the topic. Okay, try to paraphrase it يا أخي in very simple word, in very simple word. ما تتفلسف كثير لأنه كثير فيكم يتفلسف على الفاضي. I am an examiner, guys. This is my job. This is what I'm doing on a daily basis. Okay? So, and I am here to help you. It is better to write in very simple English, which is a clear English that I can understand, English that English people use. Wallahi, English people will never tell you, Zain, well, it is known for the fact that working from home is a controversial issue. What are you doing here? You're not paraphrasing the phrase. As an examiner, I cannot tell whether you understood the prompt or not. You should understand these things and you should get rid of the wrong things that you have acquired before. They are wrong. Okay, they are not correct. Okay, now what are we going to do? So match the displayed phrases, I will give you some phrases, okay, with its alternative. These are here the alternative. I'm going to give you phrase by phrase, and you tell me what or which phrase it goes with. For example, number one. Now, as a replacement for. Now, here, which word or phrase equals as a replacement for? Yes. يعني من الأزرق أي واحد كلمة أو مجموعة كلمات تعني a replacement for. Yes, I would like you to talk ندى.
instead.
يا اوكي لانك لما بتعملي هيك بعدين يتلخبطوا لانه في كثير كلمات. But as a replacement for بدل ما بقول instead of, I can say as a replacement for. Okay, I know that this is maybe you know, it's not easy for the student to come up with this. Okay, I can say many people are working from home every day as a replacement for traveling to the office or instead of. But okay, يلا اللي بعده. Remote employment. What does it equal here? Remote employment, what does it equal? Hello, guys. Working from home, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now, working from home or remote employment, the same. Okay, they are the same. Remote يعني بعيد. حتى شايفين لما التلفزيون تقول remote بعيد. Remote employment اللي هي الwork. Okay, remote employment اللي هو العمل عن بعد. But now this one, going to the workplace. Going to the workplace.
Traveling to the office.
Excellent, very good. أحسنتي. نعم, traveling to the office. يعني هوني أقدر أقول مثلا هوني مثلا أقول a lot of people are opting for remote work, okay, as a replacement for going to the workplace. You see, there is no one single way. ما في طريقة بس اللي أنا بعمل paraphrase. There are 100 ways, guys. 100 ways. By distant work. Distant work.
Working from home.
Yeah, very good. Working from home. Even remote employment, distant work, working from home. Now, ليش الكلمات هذوما they are topic specific وراح استخدمهم يعني في الكثير من المرات. فما تمسك انت كل مرة تبغى تقول working from home, working from home وتظلك تسبح فيهم. ما بيصير. مرة قول working from home, مرة distant work, مرة remote employment. Now, this will tell the examiner that you have a large repertoire of vocabulary. repertoire يعني خزينة كبيرة من الكلمات وهذا اللي بيخليك تاخذ علامة كبيرة. بس لو تمسك كلمة وتظلك تلكلك وتعيد فيها لكلك وعيد 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 لا هذا it will tell the examiner that you have a very limited repertoire of vocabulary. يعني بتكون الفوكاب اللي عندك very limited يعني ما بعرف كيف أقولها بالعربي limited. ضيق جدا. اوكي very limited. اوكي اوكي محدود. احسنت. rather than. يلا بسرعه عشان نكتبوا لي الانترودكشن. rather than.
Instead of.
instead of. very good, excellent. بسرعه شباب عشان نكتب ايش الانترودكشن مالنا. working from a distance.
working from home.
From home.
Yeah, very good. Working from home. أحسنتوا. Okay. Then making the daily trip to work. Making the daily trip to work.
Day.
Traveling to the office. Very good. شوف نقدر نقوله journeying or making the journey. زين. شوف هوني making the daily trip to work. ما في حد ما يعرف كلمة trip. ما في أقول لو ما يعرف كلمة trip هذا ظالم نفسه إنه بيمتحن الأمثال. اوكي لكن هذول they are A1 words. هذول اضعف ليفل والله اضعف من هيك ما في. اما نقوله to make a trip ولا نقوله to make a journey. اوكي but regularly, what does it mean regularly?
Daily.
every day. احسنتي, very good. daily, excellent. regularly, باستمرار. but in place of. شوفوا الكلمات بالزرار. yes.
Instead of.
very good. okay, great. instead of home-based employment. Home-based employment.
Working from home.
Working from home. Excellent. Now, commuting to work. Commuting to work.
Traveling to the office.
Traveling to the office. Excellent. Okay, we move on. On a daily basis.
Daily.
Daily. Daily. Very good. Okay. And then heading to the office.
Traveling to office.
Very good.
to the office.
Yes,
Travel.
here, yeah, traveling to the office. Instead of saying traveling, I would say going. Now, this is, I'm trying to paraphrase, guys, and you don't have to paraphrase every single word. I told you, okay, if you're not sure of the word, use very simple words. It's very important that you need to do this as an alternative to, here.
Instead of.
Yeah, very good. Instead of. Now, for example, I am someone who would like to have, let's say, C1 or C2. Now, instead of using instead of, I would say as an alternative to. Well, it would be better. Now, here, many people are working from home every day, okay, as an alternative to traveling or as an alternative to making the daily trip to work. Well, this means that I'm really good because here I have always paraphrased every single word. Okay, we'll move on. Off-site work. What phrase does it replace? Off-site work.
Working from home.
Working from home. Yeah, good. And then consistently.
Daily.
Daily. Okay, you see here? So there is no one single way of paraphrasing a word. Okay, you need to be flexible. So think of daily as regularly. So consistently on a daily basis. Okay, now this is what you should do on the day of the exam. Now here in the question, we have some words like what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of this for workers and employers. So we have advantage, we have disadvantage, we have workers, we have employers. Now what do we need to do? We need to come up with some topic specific words so that we cannot repeat these words over and over again. And you know, if you repeat them over and over again, it means that your essay is very boring. Okay, very boring, and the examiner will not be interested. Okay, now we have the word advantage, we have the word disadvantage, we have employers, and we have workers. Now we're going to do the same activity. I have generated some synonyms. I would like you to match them up with these words. Now here, the word business owners. What could it replace?
Employers.
Very good, employers. Now instead of saying every time I want to mention them, I would say employers. No, I would say business owners. So they are almost the same. Okay, and good thing.
Advantage.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, if I'm not a good student, okay, if I'm not a good student, so I cannot think of any other word than advantage. I would say the good thing about it. Okay, so very simple. Try to be very simple. It's almost the same meaning, guys. Okay. Now, merit. Now, this is if you are a good student. What is a merit? Merit. You don't know? Okay. Merit is advantage. The same thing. Okay. It's advantage or a merit. Okay. Now, staff.
Workers.
Worker.
Yeah, workers. Okay, workers or staff. It's the same word. The same word. Okay, the same meaning. Trade-off.
Disadvantage.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Now, a trade-off is a disadvantage. Okay. Now, a trade-off is something that you let go because of something good. يعني مثلا عندك شيء كويس لكن في شيء هو هذا بالمقابل لازم تعمل هيك. Now, this is what you call a trade-off. Now, for example, if you're going to make a lot of money, so the trade-off would be that you will spend less time with your family. Okay. Now, this is what you call a trade-off. Now, in reality, it's a disadvantage. Okay. But directors.
Employer.
Yes. So the employers are your director. Yes. سميه حتى the line manager with director. Now managers.
Workers.
Yeah. Employers. No. Managers.
Yeah.
Employers. Yeah. So they are employers. Okay. Personnel. This is a workers. Excellent. This is a French word. Personnel. Okay. Now personnel. دور بالكم مش personal شخصي بس personnel. Now this is the staff. Okay. The word positive.
Advantage.
Yeah, advantage. So positive, it could be used as a noun. قولوا there are many positives or a lot of positive. Okay. وأنا نقدر نقول the positive side of this and the negative side of this. إذا نقول positives, negatives, we can use them as nouns, no problem. Now workforce.
Workers.
Disadvantage.
Yeah. No, not workforce. Workforce. القوة العاملة. These are workers. Okay. These are workers. Yes. Shortcoming.
Disadvantages.
Yeah, very good, excellent. عندنا كلمة short honey, okay? So one of the shortcomings, okay, of employers working at home is that, of employees working at home is that, and then you mentioned them, okay? So instead of saying, for example, one advantage, one disadvantage, okay, مرة قلنا disadvantage، أصلا راح تحتاجه مرتين بس. But here, because the topic is very complicated, أصلا اللي عاطي هذا بغل. ليش؟ لأنه you have to talk about the advantages of for employees and the advantages for employers and then the disadvantages for employees and the disadvantages for, oh, that's way too much, guys. You can never write an essay in 200 like this, never. Okay, benefit, what does it go with?
Advantage.
Advantage.
Yeah, this is an advantage, it's a
Advantage.
benefit. Okay, now demerit. شوفوا هذه merit حطينا D, demerit شو يعني؟
يعني this.
Advantage.
Yes, disadvantage. Very good. احنا قلنا merit is an advantage. Demerit is a disadvantage. Okay, cool. Now, bosses.
Worker.
Employers.
Employers. Yeah, so
employers.
bosses are employers.
مدير.
Okay. Drawback.
Disadvantages.
Excellent. Yes.
Disadvantages.
A drawback is a disadvantage. Okay. Now, you see, now these are the words, guys, you should think of. Okay, so when you are writing your essay. Okay, I have uploaded this PowerPoint presentation. You can find it on Schoology in the folder writing, and go open the folder writing. You will find another subfolder, which is what is it called? I think online courses, something like this. You will find it there in a yellow folder, I guess, which is I'm not sure about the color, guys, but I think it's about the teaching materials or something like this. Now we are going to work. الحين حان وقت الجد. Okay, حان وقت الجد. Now I have given you prompts. Okay, and it is really very stupid, guys. أنا بقول لكم ما بقصد أنتم stupid. It is a stupid idea. Now, if you know how to write about one topic, you can write about 100 topics. And I really wonder why some students would like to have the topic of the exam. حتى لو عرفته وانت you don't know how to write ما راح تقدر تعمل شيء والله. Okay, but if you can write the way I told you guys, okay, so you will be very successful. Now what we're going to do, guys, so I am very democratic. I have given you 4 writing prompts 4. You're going to choose one بس واحد اللي تشوفه سهل بالنسبة لي. Okay, and we're going to write the introduction خطوة بخطوة عليه. راح تطلع من الحصة راح تعرف تكتب introduction ولا تحتاج لا قالب ولا هم يحزنون. But several schools have adopted a strict rule against the usage of cell phones within their premises. هناك some schools do not allow the use of cell phones وإلا smartphones within their school buildings. Okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this decision? هذا زي الموضوع هذا advantage disadvantages. Say another topic. Many children have embraced playing video games as a favorite pastime. طبعا pastime هي الهوبي. يعني they have taken they have taken up, okay, video gaming, okay, as their favorite hobby. Now the question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this recreational activity, which is playing video games? Number 3, a considerable number of high school graduates اللي هم اللي يتخرجوا من الصف الثاني عشر. يعني a lot of high school graduates choose to pursue or to continue or to complete their higher studies or higher education in a foreign country في دولة أجنبية. And there are many people here in the UAE. So for example, what do they do exactly? So instead of studying in their country, they they move to another one. Okay, so in order to graduate from accredited or يعني accredited universities ولا اللي هم يعني they are very famous universities. This is what they do. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of their choice? Now, the last topic, many people choose to travel. This is my mistake, guys. So I need to fix it. Just give me a second. So choose to travel. Okay, you see, even teachers make mistakes. Okay. Now, many people choose to travel to new destinations, to other countries in a group. They travel with a group of people rather than instead of on their own, they travel alone. Now, this is what you call solo traveling. Solo when you travel alone. And then we have a group traveling when you travel in a group of people. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Okay, now these are 4 topics. What I would like you to do, I'd like you to take a screenshot of this. خذ screenshot عشان راح تكتب في الموضوع هذا. Oh my, what did I do here? Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now, I would like you to take a screenshot of this. Okay. Read the writing prompts carefully. Choose one. اللي راح تختاره راح تكتب عليه مقدمة بس. Next session when we meet, we will write the body paragraph. خلي المقدمة وكمل البادي. And then ممكن نعمل body paragraph والconclusion لأن الconclusion it's very easy. Okay. بعدين يعني الحصة المرة هذه والمرة الجاية راح تكتب essay كامل على هذا. Okay. وتبعث لي الessay مالك وأنا بصلحهم. يعني اليوم شو راح نعمل؟ اليوم we are going to write only the introduction, a very successful introduction. And after you're done, what should you do? You should go to Schoology and upload your introduction for me to Mark عشان اصححهم وعشان اعطيك فيدباك شو اللي كويس شو اللي مش كويس. اوكي؟ خلي نفس الاساي لما نتعلم المره الجايه كيف نكتب البادي 1 2 3. خليني اشوف في واحد بعث لي مسج. دكتور اقدر اكتب رايتنج واترشح لك وتصحح. شوفوا هذه الملاحظه هذه انه واحد يكتب لي رايتنج وانا بصحح. انا بصراحه ما بحب اصحح شيء الا لما ادرس لان انا بمشي بالمبدا هذا. اوكي تيتش بعدين تيست. الحين لما راح تكتبي لي انت موضوع شو اللي راح يستوي؟ اللي يستوي انت راح تكتبيه على حسب انت ما بتعرفين. واضح؟ راح انا امسك لك الاحمر الاحمر الاحمر. اصلا انا بجن وبقول لك ملاحظات ما راح تفهميها الا لما تكون انت دارسه معي. بس عشان اطيب خاطرك وما تقول والله الاستاذ اكتب وانا بصح. نو بروبلم. اي واحد فيكم عنده القدره انه يكتب ويطرش اكتب وطرش. انا بشوف بس خبرني يا اما على يعني just يعني tell me I don't know on WhatsApp or whatever لانه سكولوجي ما بيطلع فيها ايش مسج ان انا شفت شيء. لا قل لي مثلا teacher I have submitted my essay please مثلا mark it. No problem, I will do that. No problem. Anyone who would like to write anything, although I don't prefer this because I would like you to write the way I am teaching you. This is how you can really thrive, guys. Okay. Now, if you write without, having instructions, there will be a clash. لأنه أنت عندك معلومات عن writing، أنا بدرس فيك بطريقة ثانية. Okay. Now, this is why we should. I know that some of you will sit for the exam on the 6th. Okay. We still have time because if you learn to write one body paragraph, خلاص. الكل في كل essay it is the same thing. Okay, this is why I really want to go little by little, guys. بعدين يعني مرة ثانية راح نتعلم كيف نكتب البادي باراجراف، كيف نكتب topic sentence، يعني how to prop up the topic sentence with the supporting details. Okay, how to give a good example. خلاص أي باراجراف بعدين مهما كانت التوبيك هو نفس الشيء. Okay, now this is why don't rush into things because عندكم أشياء تعلمتوها they are wrong and this is what we are trying to do. لازم تعمل فورمات المخك وتعيد تتعلم من اول جديد. اوكي بس عادي اكتب مش مشكله. خذوا سكرين شوت of this so that you can see the topics because later we're going to move to dot storming so that you can write the first sentence only. But have you taken a screenshot of this, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Now what do you need to do? The next step, choose the topic that is very simple for you, وإلا you can talk about it. Do never use the internet to get information. Never. Don't ever do this. Okay? So because on the day of the exam, you won't have access to the internet, and I won't be there with you guys in order to give you the support that you need. Okay, so you will be alone. And this is what you need to do. Try to think. I will tell you I will take you through all the steps together. And you will see, you will write something decent, something really good, and you will have a high score. But paraphrase. Now, this is what we're going to do, guys. Paraphrase the topic on dot storming. I will give you the link to dot storming. I will put it in the chat box. Okay? You have 5 minutes to complete the task. شو قلت أنا؟ ما تجاوب على السؤال بس اللي هو الفوقاني. I will repeat عشان ما حد يلخبط. هذه بس الجملة الأولى بس. هذه paraphrase it in your own words. You have 5 minutes to do this. I think this is too much time for this task. Okay? But I would like you to take some time and to paraphrase it really quickly, and it should be effective, and it should deliver the same message, and you should show me that you really understood the topic. Okay? So, well, this is it. So you have 5 minutes. What am I going to do? I will give you the link to dot storming, and then I will copy some paragraphs, some paraphrases, put them here, study them together, and see if they are effective or not effective. And if they are effective, it's okay. If they are not effective, what should we do to improve them? That's what we need to do. Okay? Let me give you the link, guys, to dot storming. So just give me a second. Okay. Okay. I think there is a problem. This one. Oh. Wanna answer? Hey, tell me where I can. Oh, huh? What? I don't want to write it. Wait, guys. I think a meeting in chat. Not. Okay, guys. So I have just sent you the link. Now you should click the link. It will take you to dot storming. And what you should do, I think you will be prompted for a password. The password is 123. 123. Okay. If you are prompted for a password, I'm not sure whether the website is password protected or not. So, but I will go to the website and see. See if you can join or not. Now, if you have any problem, if you are asked for a password, so it's simply input 123 and that's it.
It asks about password.
Yeah, 123. So it's 123 only.
Okay.
Okay, and you need to write your name, guys. Okay. So I have Aisha, I have Menna. Now, this is, I think I'm sharing the screen with you, aren't I? Am I sharing the screen, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so you simply add a card. So you press this one, you add a card, okay, and then you type whatever you want, and it will appear to everyone. So we first of all try to paraphrase your prompt, and then I will give you my feedback. It's not only me. So after you're done, so try to read what everyone has come up with, or try to look for the person who has produced or who has worked on the same topic as you did, and try to read their paraphrase. Okay, if you have a piece of advice, give them this piece of advice. If you don't have anything, it's okay, no problem. What is the password? The password is 123. 123. I will send it. Okay, guys. So now it's 10 to 11, 20 to 52 in American English. So normally at 10:57, you should stop. Okay. Now here we have someone who has submitted something. Various educators prefer to complete their high school outside the country rather than studying in their own country. Okay. Okay. Now, for the first person who has written or who has submitted their paraphrase, so I have written a remark for you. It's between us, but people who, they can read your remark. Okay. Could you read it? Can you see it? Hello?
Yes.
Can you see my feedback?
Yes, we can see it.
Did you understand it?
Yes, I corrected. I wrote learners.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So, as I said before, if you don't know a synonym for the word, no problem. Keep the same word. You can keep it student, no problem. Is it clear?
Yes.
But guys, listen. Because you cannot copy the prompt. Now, I will try to copy the prompt and post it. Okay, so under the sentence that you have come up with, so that I can give you some effective feedback, because I cannot remember the topics. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, okay, where is it? Yeah, this one. Okay, I will copy it and I will paste it here. Okay, now this is the I think I need to, what is this? How can I make this? Now this is the topic. I didn't know how to reduce the size of the font. A considerable number of high school graduates choose to pursue their higher education in a foreign country. Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of this choice? Okay. Now there are more and more students prefer to complete their education outside the country rather than studying inside their country. A lot of people, okay, I can interact with this, I can give it a heart, guys, this is what you need to do, so try to read them. And if you like one, one paraphrase, so just give it a like. If you really have some good feedback to provide your friend with, so please do. Okay, and the most important thing is that this paraphrase should make sense to the reader. Okay, so that's what we are looking for. A lot of people going to destinations in a group, the best there. Okay, a lot of people take a decision to go to new places with friends or family rather than go alone. Okay, a lot of people decide to transport to far places with a high number of relatives instead of traveling solo. Some people would like to travel to new countries together, while others, or other people, prefer to do this. Okay, that is loans prefer to complete their high school. Okay, Fatma Khalifa, so I have given you some feedback. So you have the feedback, read it and try to, adjust your paraphrase. Many schools have put in place a rule that ban the sale from use on the property. Okay, now this is good. A lot of individuals prefer to take a jet with them. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think this one is really good. Okay. Okay, guys. I think we've taken a lot of time, so this is normal because we're just training, and this is the first time. It needs some practice, and then you will really be good at it. Okay. Now I won't. Now
Invite me.
it's okay, no problem. Now what are we going to do, guys? So we're going to take a sample introduction of a sample paraphrase here. It's a sample paraphrase, and then we're going to see whether this what the student came up with, okay, meets our criteria or not. Okay, so just give me a second. This is about okay, completing their studies. Yeah, this is here. Okay, so I will copy this one. I will put it here. Okay. 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 Now, guys, I would like you to stop writing now. Okay. So that we can benefit from the feedback that I'm going to give you. Okay. Now, this is one of the students. I don't know who this student is, and it is not really important to know who they are. Now, this is the topic. a considerable number of high school graduates choose to pursue their higher education in a foreign country. What are the advantages and disadvantages of their choice? Okay, now this is the prompt, and I asked you to paraphrase the first part of this prompt. Now the student wrote this: now there are more and more students prefer to complete their education outside the country rather than study inside their country. Okay, now I would like you to look at this one. Now here we have a considerable number of high school graduates. Well, here we have now there are more and more students. Okay, graduate, student, and considerable more and more prefer to, they choose. Okay, prefer or choose. Okay, they are almost similar. And to pursue is to complete their education, their higher education. Okay, here she wrote education in a foreign country. I don't know, he or she, I don't know. So they mention foreign country, they replaced it with outside the country rather than study inside their country. Okay, now the question is this clear, guys?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes.
Yes, okay, this is clear. Okay, so and I would look at this as a successful paraphrase. It is better than to come up with, you know, set phrases that mean nothing. Okay, so this one, at least this student was able to come up with the, you know, I would say, okay, it's a good paraphrase, but it's not that accurate. But here the message is clear. Now, I don't know why the student included now. Okay, I cannot find it here. So I will simply delete this one. And there are, okay, there is no need for there are. Okay, more and more, we can start this like this. So more and more students, okay, prefer to complete. Okay, you can say, for example, nowadays, or you can say, for example, in this day and age. Well, that's an idiom. It means nowadays. It is better to include idioms. So more and more students in this day and age. Or we can start with this one. We start with the prepositional phrase, which is better. Okay. Now, in this day and age, comma, more and more students prefer to complete their. Okay, here we have higher education, and you removed higher. Now, when you removed higher, we don't know which type of education they are going to complete. So instead of higher, we can say tertiary. Now, tertiary means اللي هي عنا اللي هي الدراسة الجامعية. This is with why. الدراسة الجامعية, tertiary education. Okay. So عنا primary الأولى, وعنا secondary الثانية, وعنا tertiary education اللي هي higher education. Okay. Now this is a phrase and it's a good one. Okay, so this is what we call collocation. Good collocation, they go together. Okay, now in this day and age, more and more students prefer to complete their tertiary education outside the country. Okay, so we can make it more specific, inside their country. Okay, outside their country, rather than, okay, here it should use the ing, studying, okay, inside their own country. Okay,
Or we can say abroad instead of outside.
yeah, very good, excellent. I didn't want to change a lot of things, okay, so that, for example, the students won't you know, feel, you know, a bit stressed out. No, okay, so it's okay, no problem. So yeah, abroad is a good phrase to use. Okay, so we will use it, no problem. Okay, now in this day and age, more and more students prefer to complete their tertiary education outside their country, or here we can say abroad, outside their country, or abroad. Okay, so that we this way we won't repeat, you know, the phrase here, country twice. I mean the word. So abroad, rather than studying inside their own country. Well, this is excellent. If you can come up with something like this, what's the this is the O before the A. Okay, it's a spelling mistake. Now this is really excellent. Okay, so and this is way better. I know, but this is the first time, guys, you are producing such a thing. Okay, now the most important thing for me is that you know what you should be doing. Okay, this is the most important thing. Okay, so in order for me to write an effective introduction, what do I need to do? I need to paraphrase the question or the first part of the prompt. Well, that's number one. Number two, I need to think of some, what are the advantages? So maybe I will talk about 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. No more than this. No more than this. Okay? And try to come up with very simple ideas. Okay? Do not go for complex ideas, because examiners, they won't judge, for example, or assess your ideas against you won't get a high score or any score on complex ideas. So try to be very simple. Now here, what do you need to do? I mean, the student who came up with this, I would like to thank you, Yani, from, you know, from my heart. You're really good. Okay, you're really good. And this is the first time, and you came up with something like this. So next time when you do it, so you have 4 topics, you can work on them. You can write the 4 introductions. This is what you need to do. Write the 4 introductions, okay, and upload them, and I will look into them, all of them. Okay, so if at first you do not succeed, do not forget about it. Okay, do not forget about it. So try again until you get it right. Because what are we doing now? We're learning. It is better than to memorize, okay, fixed phrases that will do you no good on the day of the exam. Now, even if you write something with like this, with a few mistakes, it's better than to write those meaningless phrases that will add nothing to your essay. Okay, now for this student and for all the other students, now after you came up with the exact paraphrase, what do you need to do? You need to answer the question, what are the advantages and disadvantages of their choices? Okay, so in this case, what should you do? I will give you a structure that you need to follow. Now, this way it's okay. I'm not going to give you, set the phrases. I said I'm going to give you the structure. You start with although, and then you mention two advantages, and then you carry on and you mention 2 advantages. For example, although students may experience, well, disadvantages, homesickness. You know homesickness? So they will long for their family. Okay, they may experience homesickness. Okay, and find no one, okay, to support when they need help. هذوما the 2 disadvantages. Okay, I will talk about the disadvantage. Okay, they may learn how to depend on themselves. Okay, and you add another thing. Okay, because here I am thinking on the go. Okay, and Toma, you should spend some time to do it. But this is the structure. It's an excellent structure. Okay, and here what are we doing? We are answering the question. I told you that, but you briefly answer it. So mention 2 things, for example, homesickness and the lack of support. Well, these are 2 things. And here the disadvantages. Oh, sorry, these are the advantages. So you may, for example, here join an accredited university. You may depend on yourself. But these are life skills that you need to acquire. The disadvantages, it could be, for example, feeling homesick, and and you may face what you call or relieve isolation, something like this. Okay, so these are the disadvantages. Or maybe the highly cost of studying abroad. So it might be very expensive, and you may feel homesick. Now you see here, then later in the body, what are you going to do? You are going to expand on these ideas, homesickness, okay, and for example, the high cost of studying, okay, and you talk about these 2 things. But this is a very good structure. You can start with although, you can start with while, the same thing, okay? So while blah, 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 sorry, this one, okay, and then blah, 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 you carry on, okay? So you're going to produce a complex sentence. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Clear.
good. Yes, okay, good. Now that's what you need to do, guys. So I will give you a link, another link, so that you can write, you answer the questions of the prompt that you have opted for. I will send you another link now.
Dr. Nasser, I think that is what we should do now.
Ma'am?
I think that is what we should do now.
No, I have sent you a link. Okay. Now, what do you need to do? You need to answer the question of the prompt. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, in a very brief way. ما تطولي أبداً. I have sent you the link, guys, and the password, if you are prompted for one, so it's 123, 123. Okay, and then after you, now what do you need to do, guys? You open a Word document, hell Word document, copy the paraphrase and put it on a Word document. بس البارaphrase متاعك. بعدين هلا we are going to write what? We are going to write the answer to the question, and then you copy it and then you put it on the same Word document. Okay, bye. بعدين what are you going to do now when we are done, when we leave, when the lecture is over? So you look at it. You have tomorrow, you have a whole day. Look at it and try to improve it. Try to improve it. Okay, so go through the PowerPoint presentation that you will find on Schoology. Try to improve what you came up with. Okay, once done, you upload your file. Okay, write your name so that you can get what you call personalized feedback. Because I don't know who you are, so how can you benefit? I don't know. Okay, so and I will not tell anyone about your feedback. Okay, although I will never say, well, this is not a good student, or no. We are learning here. We all make mistakes. Okay, so and if you do not make mistakes, you will never thrive. You will never succeed, guys. Okay, so I will just join. What is it? The link. As I said, so the password is 123, guys. If you are ever prompted, if you are ever prompted, but this is another one or the same one, I'm not sure. So just give me a second, guys. So this is it. Did you get the new link, guys, or the old one? I'm not sure.
It's the new one.
The new one. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, nobody has submitted anything so far, but I have some students here, so they are there. So try to answer the question, okay, to your prompt. The question that, I mean, the second part of the prompt, try to provide a question, try to think. So because we need to think before we write anything, guys, okay? So think for a while, for 2 minutes. So try to jot down 2 ideas, 2 disadvantages, 2 advantages. As I said before, do not overthink the task. Okay, so try to come up with very simple ideas. What is this? A considerable number of high school choose. Okay, now this is the question. To know why you sent this. Okay, maybe you are going to write a comment here. Okay, a considerable number of high school. Okay, now what are the advantages? So I will help you with the one who sent this. I will help you with the disadvantages. I will write, for example, homesickness. And then number 1, and then number 2. So we will write high cost of education.
By mistake, Mr. Nasser.
By mistake?
Yes, I posted by mistake.
But is this your topic?
Yes, I choose this topic to write about.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so what am I going to do? You leave it there, leave it, don't delete it, because I am gonna help you with, you know, the home advantages and disadvantages. So I will just brainstorm two things for you. You put them in a sentence. Is it clear?
Okay.
Or if you want to come up with your own, you're free. Okay, so I'm just doing this because you are the first one who submitted something, which means that you are a very good student. So this is the advantage. So I will write about, for example, okay. Okay, I have jotted down two disadvantages and two advantages. So if you like them or if you have something better, no problem. So, but they might help you. And this is what we need to do, guys. Okay, so we try to help one another. Okay, so let me have a look at what others have produced. Yeah, we have someone here. Very students prefer to complete their high school abroad rather than studying on their own country, although students can reap the merits of studying in a different country, such as communication and self-esteem, while learners can demerit studying in their country, such as the one here who came up with this. Are you the same one whose paraphrase we put in on the slide? Are you the same person?
No, not me.
No, no. Who is this?
Me, طيب.
Okay, so I mean, the paraphrase was not yours?
I paraphrase the app and I complete, although while I didn't use this paraphrasing.
No, I think you didn't get me. So Anna, what I did, I copied one of the answers and we studied this together. Was it you or someone else?
And no, someone else.
Ah, someone else. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, so let me tell you something here. So after reading all the okay, all those students. Okay, I like the fact that here you are using the vocabulary that you have just learned, which is really good. So students can reap the merits of. Now that's very good. I'll give you. Okay, so this is how we can learn, guys. And as I said before, writing is not a skill that you can, you know, you can learn overnight. No, you need a lot of practice, and sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed. So, and this is how learning is not an easy journey. So it's a very tiring journey. Okay, and but you should never give up. Should never give up. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? So I'm gonna okay. So I'm gonna take this part, and I'm gonna make some changes. Okay. Now here. So I will make the changes in red. So that can you see here anything of it? Can you see your introduction on the screen? Can you see it?
No.
Okay, this is good. All the students.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah. Right. Okay, guys. I don't know if you are done or not. Okay, but because only 4 students have written something. So although when you travel in a group, you can feel protected in a new place, and also others can okay in a new place, and others can share their own experience with you. But on the other hand, you have to take other decisions, and also you should think, you should think about your actions. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, this one is good. Okay, so there are some mistakes. Okay, but the ideas are there. Okay, although studying outside the country will know a new culture. Okay, so although, for example, when you study, okay, although studying outside uh, can allow you, okay, or can help you know about new cultures and gain a new language or learn a new language, is better than to say gain. Okay, so although here, the other part, which is the negative one, okay, studying inside your country is more secure and okay, so is more secure, or you can say here, when you study in your country, you will feel more secure, okay, and you will never feel homesick because here you will stay with your family, or for example, you will have someone who will look after you. Okay, so try to use simple English. Okay, good. For this one, although when you travel with a group of people, you can feel more and more protected in a new place, and also others can share their own experience in this place. But here, guys, when you use although, don't use but. One of them, so because here you're using a double connector. Okay, this student is really good, so I'm going to give you a heart here. Okay, so there are a few mistakes. Okay, but this is not a big issue. Okay, what are the others? So I cannot see other students who have come up with something. Okay. Okay, let me share this with you. This one. Oh, what am I sharing here? Yeah, I'm sharing the PowerPoint now. Okay. Now, okay. Now this is one of you guys. I don't know who this person is. But here we have all those students who decide to study abroad can reap the merits of improving their language and enhancing. Okay, here we have a mistake. I changed this a bit. Okay, come on. Okay, so here and enhancing their self-esteem. Okay, now the first part is okay. Now this is about the positive thing. All those students who decide to study abroad. Now the person here said all those students without this one. So I added this to make it clear for the examiner, because here I'm not talking about any students. So about students who decide to study abroad. They can reap the merits of improving their language and enhancing their self-esteem. Now here they can demerit. Now here we should not use this verb. They're studying in their country such as less experience. Now here you see the ideas are not clear, so I couldn't correct them. Okay, now the person who wrote this, what do you mean by this? So can you explain yourself so that we can rephrase them in good English?
They will not get, they will not be more socialization with other cultures.
Okay, okay, good.
if they traveling.
That's right. I will mix both. I don't know if it's you or another student, but it doesn't really matter. So this is the first part, and this is the second part. Now, all those students who decide to study abroad can reap the merits of improving their. Okay, they may. Okay, so they can demerit the studying. Okay, now here, for example, they may. Okay, experience. Okay, يعني يشتاقوا للبلد, homesickness. They may experience homesickness, and for example, lack of socialization. Or here, so they may experience, okay, homesickness and lack of socialization. Yeah, okay. Now, anyway, so try to make it simple. Okay, so what we're going to do now, this is what you call the introduction of, I don't know, maybe it's a mix of two students together, no problem. Okay, but if you look at this introduction, now this is the exact paraphrase, number one. So the exact paraphrase of the prompt. So this means that here I really did very well, and the language is accurate. Okay, and my ideas are very clear, and here I indicated what you call the purpose, because I answered the question that was asked, or that I'm supposed to answer in a brief way. All those in decide to study abroad can reap the merits of what? Well, here I'm going to talk about, for example, improving language if you're studying English or whatever, and you can enhance your self-esteem. So by learning how to depend on yourself, so this means that your self-esteem will go higher. But you know, by the same token, what will happen? You may experience homesickness. Okay, and for example, okay, they may experience, okay, and maybe less socialization, okay, with other people or in that environment or whatever. Okay, now this is very good, and if you write something like this, so you will be so in the range of B2 or C1, okay, because everything is very clear. But as I said before, guys, when it comes to language, you need to produce correct language. Correct language is very important. Here, accuracy, okay. So, and here we have used the appropriacy. We have used, you know, topic specific words. Now, tertiary education, students abroad, improve your language, okay. This is what you call topic specific vocabulary. You experience homesickness, okay. This is very important. Now, when we write, I mean the body paragraph, so we're going to write two paragraphs, one about the advantages, which are improving your language, and then enhancing your self-esteem. We can come up with a topic of sentence like this one. For example, people who decide to travel abroad or to study abroad, okay, we can say they can improve their language and enhance their self-esteem. And then I'm going to explain how is that. So we're gonna do this, okay. That's what we're gonna do next time. We're going to write another paragraph, okay, for the disadvantages, and I will show you how you can, you know, link the first paragraph to the second one, okay. Now, basically, that's what we're going to do, inshallah, next time. Hopefully, you have gained something, okay. At least you know what you should do in the introduction. As I said before, it's not easy to do it, okay, but at least you know what you should do. So paraphrase the topic, answer the question in brief. You need to do this. You need some practice, and practice makes perfect. Okay, so you have 4 topics. You can write at your leisure, guys. You can write, you know, an introduction like this one. Send it to me, and I will send you personalized feedback. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Bye. Okay. Yalla, Allah yatikum al-afiyah, and see you next time, inshallah. But as I said before, guys, please, Allah afikum, please write your introduction. عندكم 4 topics, اكتب عليهم. Get some help from the internet, no problem. Get ideas, like, put them in your own words. انك ما راح تقدر تغشني، راح تغش نفسك. اكتب وانا بعدل لك الاشياء اللي على مستواك، عشان مش معقوله بعدل على مستوى غير مستوى، لا لازم على مستوى. Is it clear? Bye. Thank you very much for being very productive tonight, guys. So hopefully you have learned something which is beneficial, inshallah, and it will help you, inshallah, do well in the writing section of the exam. Good night. Bye bye.
Good night, teacher. ومشكور ويعطيك العافية.
Allah يعافيك. Salam. Shukran.